There's a moment in life when the world stops explaining itself. The routine remains, the sun rises, people speak, work, laugh, but underneath it all, a question begins to pulse quietly. What is this all for? This is the question at the heart of Albert Camus' The Stranger, a novel often described as cold, disturbing, or emotionally empty. But to read it that way is to miss its deeper purpose. The Stranger is not a story about a man without feelings. It is a story about what happens when we stop lying to ourselves about meaning. The novel opens with one of the most famous lines in modern literature. Mother died today. Or maybe yesterday, I can't be sure. From this first sentence, Camus removed the emotional script we expect. Meursault, the narrator, does not perform grief. He does not explain himself. He does not search for meaning. He simply reports what happens. What he feels, what he doesn't feel, what the sun does to his body, how hunger or pleasure moves through him. He just reports what happens. This flatness unsettles readers because it exposes something we try very hard to ignore. That meaning is not built into events themselves. It is something we project onto them. Meursault refuses to project. Camus is often associated with nihilism, but he was deeply suspicious of it. Nihilism claims that because life has no objective meaning, nothing truly matters. Camus disagreed. Instead, he described the human condition as the absurd, a clash between our need for meaning and a universe that offers none. He explains this directly in The Myth of Sisyphus, where he argues that absurd is born the moment we ask why, and receive only silence in return. Meursault lives inside that silence. He does not believe that life has a hidden purpose. He does not believe suffering redeems us. He does not believe love is sacred. And because of this, society views him as a monstrous. Not because he kills a man, but because he refuses to pretend. At his trial, Meursault is judged less for the murder and more for not crying at his mother's funeral. His emotional honesty becomes his greatest crime. Camus was writing in the shadows of thinkers who had already shaken the foundations of meaning. Nietzsche had declared that God is dead, warning that the collapse of religious and moral absolutes would leave humanity lost. Without divine meaning, life risked becoming empty or violent. Dostoevsky explored this fear in Brothers Karamazov, asking whether everything is permitted in a godless world. His character wrestles with guilt, freedom, and moral terror. Kierkegaard describes despair as the sickness of a self unable to ground itself in meaning, arguing that faith, not reason, was the escape. Camus accepted the diagnosis, but he rejected the cures. No God, no faith, no philosophical escape hatch. Instead, he asked, what if we stayed? The Stranger cannot be separated from its settings. Camus was born in Algeria, then a French settler colony. European settlers lived with political rights. Muslim Algerians lived under discrimination and control. French settlers were citizens. Muslim Algerians were subject. Two worlds share the same sun, but not the same dignity. The heat in The Stranger is not metaphorical. It is physical, oppressive, disorienting. The sun bears down during the murder scene, blinding Meursault, dissolving thought into sensation. Nature itself feels indifferent, even hostile. When the Algerian War began years later, Camus found himself morally stranded. He opposed colonial injustice, but refused to justify revolutionary violence against civilians. His famous line, "I believe in justice, but I will defend my mother before justice," was not cowardice, it was tragedy. Camus believed that once violence became absolute, meaning collapsed entirely. Meursault's transformation comes not through redemption but clarity. Awaiting execution, he stops resisting the world's indifference and accepts it fully. And in that acceptance, something unexpected happens. He feels free. Not because life suddenly has meaning, but because it no longer needs one. This is Camus' rebellion. Not hope, not despair, but lucid defiance. Like Sisyphus, pushing his rock uphill forever, Meursault lives without appeal. And in doing so, he becomes honest. Perhaps more honest than society can tolerate. Camus' contemporary Jean-Paul Sartre argued that humans are condemned to be free. Even in a meaningless universe, we are responsible for what we choose. Camus agreed, but added a warning. Freedom without compassion becomes cruelty. Choice without limits becomes ideology. This tension hunted him until his death. The Stranger is not a nihilistic book. It is a brutally honest one. It strips away comforting illusions and asks us to face life as it is. Fragile, temporary, unjust, and silent. But in that silence, Camus does not ask us to surrender. He asks us to stay awake, to fully live, to refuse lies, to resist cruelty, to choose dignity without guarantees. In a world that might never explain itself, that may never care, Camus offers us a quiet truth. Life does not need meaning to be lived, but that's precisely what gives us courage to go on. Thank you for watching this video. This is part of the series Reading the World, or a book from every country. And the country was Algeria. The book was Albert Camus, The Stranger. I hope you enjoyed this review, and I'll see you in the next one.